Hola chicos, today we'll be learning yet another tense in Spanish. Today we'll be working with the present progressive tense. Now we've already been studying the present tense the past year and a half. The present tense is what we use to talk about an action that happens always, or often, or something that's happening right now. So when we say ellos comen ensaladas, we could either mean they're eating salads or they eat salads. So either it's something that they normally do, or it's something that they're doing at this moment. Now the present progressive tense is more so used to emphasize that an action is happening right in this particular moment. That's why we use this one. Now present progressive, we could say something to the effect of ellos están comiendo ensaladas. That means they're eating salads at this moment. So it's happening right now. So to form the present progressive, you see that you need two things. The first thing you need is a present tense form of the verb estar. So you'll need estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. Then you need the present participle. So this is the ando, yendo form of your verb. When again, we just went through the forms of estar, which are estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, and están. Now please pay careful attention because the only ones that do not have accents are the estoy and the estamos. The rest of them have accents on the A. For present progressive, you need to also have the participle. Now to make the participle, instead of adding on o, as, a, amos, ais, an, what you do is you need ando for AR verbs and yendo for ER and IR verbs. So when you form it, the first thing you do is drop off the ending off your verb. So you need to drop the AR, ER, IR ending off. Second thing you do is add the correct present participle ending. So hablar becomes hablando. Comer becomes comiendo. Vivir becomes viviendo. So if we were to take hablar and we wanted to make all of them present progressive, we would say estoy hablando to say I am talking. Estás hablando, you are talking. Está hablando, he, she, or you formal are talking. Nosotros hablamos, estamos hablando, we are talking. Estáis hablando, you all in Spain are talking. Están hablando, ellos, ellas, ustedes means they or you all are talking. Now if you notice, what's really great about this tense is if you conjugate the verb hablar into the ANDO form, the present progressive, the present participle form, you just leave that alone. All you need to do is change the form of estar and add that present participle and you're done. Let's try another one. Take the verb comer. It becomes estoy comiendo, estás comiendo, está comiendo, estamos comiendo, estáis comiendo, and están comiendo. And again, if you have your form of estar, the form of estar reflects who's doing the action. You add your present participle with it, and you're done. So we have vivir, estoy viviendo, estás viviendo, está viviendo, estamos viviendo, estáis viviendo, and están viviendo. So let's practice a little bit with the irregular ones. So practicareño would become estoy practicando. Beber y nosotros would become nosotros estamos bebiendo. Escribir and tú estás escribiendo. Hacer and ella becomes ella está haciendo. Trabajar y ustedes están trabajando. And again, as we keep saying, if you know what the verb is, all you have to do is change your form of estar and add your present participle using the verb that we give you. Unfortunately, as always, there's irregulars when we conjugate present progressive verbs, so let's take a look and see what they are. So if you think about it, most verbs that stem change in the present tense end in AR and ER, they will not stem change in the present progressive, which means you only need to pay attention to verbs that end in IR. Those ones that change in IR and do the stem changers are the ones that are going to continue to stem change in the present progressive tense. So they go to a single letter stem change instead of a double letter. For example, the two O to UE ones that we usually know, of dormir and morir, only go from O to U instead of O to UE. So dormir goes to durmiendo and morir goes to muriendo. Both E to IE and E to I stem changers both go just to E to I. So preferir, which is an E to IE stem changer, still changes just to prefiriendo, and pedir, which is an E to I stem changer, just leaves it alone as pidiendo, but you have to make the stem change. So these are some examples of the two verbs that would go O to U. And these are some common examples of the ones that would go O to U, would go E to I. Now these are only some of them, but these are ones that you're probably going to want to know because you'll use them more often than any of the other ones. Sometimes, when you're forming the present participle, it's necessary to make what's called an orthographic change, which is a spelling change, so that it agrees with the way it's pronounced. So this happens with ER and IR verbs that when the stem ends in a vowel. So we'll end up taking the I in the yendo form and we change it to a Y. So if we have ir, it becomes yendo. If we have traer, it becomes trayendo because otherwise it would be Traiendo. The way I always remember it is that you can't have three vowels in a row, so you have to drop the I to a Y. Same thing with leyendo, it would be EIE, and since that looks kind of strange, we end up dropping it to a Y, and then it looks a little better. And creer, which means to believe, creyendo. So let's take a couple minutes to practice with the irregulars. So servir, think about it. Is it a stem changer or is it a spelling change? So we figured out that it's a stem changer. It goes E to I, so it becomes estás sirviendo. The next one is dormir and los chicos. Dormir again is another stem changer, so you have to change the O to, if you said U, you're correct, and then it would be están durmiendo. Now we have traer and yo. So if you were to drop the ER off of it, the root ends in a vowel. So does that mean we have to just stem change or we have to make a spelling change? So it does mean we have to make a spelling change, which means it's going to be estoy trayendo with a Y and not an I. And then we have pedir and usted, which is another stem changer. So it's está pidiendo. Then we have morir and nosotros, which is another stem changer. So the O goes to U, and it's estamos muriendo. And that's the end of our show. What you should be doing next is going back into the Moodle, and you need to be going to do the worksheet that is on there. Once you are done with that, please submit it, and you may start the homework, and you can submit that when you're done as well. If you have questions, feel free to leave them in the course forum, or feel free to email me. Adios!